Nice spots and cheap pops, ladies and gentlemen. It is Silicon Steve Valley. I'm, of course, being hosted with Vladi Dadi. He liked the body. We are back. Been a long time. Again, life has been around. And we are back, though, talking about professional wrestling. And not really stuff off camera for the first time in seemingly forever. We're going to be talking about a lot of things in the world of professional wrestling. Vladi Dadi, how are you doing? And are you ready? And are you excited about some of the upcoming things happening in all of the world of this craziness of professional wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely excited with what's evolving here. It's been a while, as you said. However, we are back, and we're going to touch base on a couple different topics that have intrigued you and I for sure. And if we can lead off with one in particular, especially when it's near and dear to my heart. Now, we actually had a situation this past Dynamite where we saw Swerve in our glory against the number one contender, FTR, for a title match against the Acclaimed, which in reality, and again, I'm not a millionaire or billionaire booker. However, the way I looked at this was, this is a train wreck right from the word go, because you have the Acclaimed as the most popular tag team, or one of the top two most popular babyface tag teams. FTR is arguably one of the other top two babyface tag teams. And you are dangling a carrot as if you're going to actually consider having them go against each other, which we knew wasn't going to happen. So you just had FTR, who was the number one contender for, what was it, 6 months?
5.
Right? 5 months, I'm sorry. I don't want to go and extend or make it a lie. So 5 months, and they never got a shot at the title the entire time. But then they lose to Swerve in Our Glory. So Swerve in Our Glory can now get the rubber match between the Acclaimed and themselves. And we never got the rubber match between the Young Bucks and FTR, because this takes precedence on AEW television. And where I'm bothered by this, Mr. Silicon Steve Valley, is this. They have totally, again, neutered FTR in ways. Because what I'm hearing and getting some, seeing some things online is that in terms of Ring of Honor, and really this is what Tony Khan is doing, is that, in my opinion, he is putting FTR more on the Ring of Honor type show. So you're going to have to watch them probably on HBO Max more than anything versus their show. So he basically decided to take away the best tag team on the planet off of his main show, just so we can see a feud with Swerve in Our Glory, who, by the way, we could see it 100 miles away, that Keith Lee and Swerve are basically going to be separating soon anyways. So it's all very predictable. So I don't understand this type of booking. I think it's a disgrace in some ways. Dax posted something interesting today. Not sure what the future holds, sort of thing.
What did he say? Let's get the exact quote from Dax.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he said. I have it right here. We have Dax from FTR. Since 2014, our goal was to be one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I don't know if we've reached that, but we'll damn sure keep trying. Thank you all for going on this journey. Not sure where the next few years will take us, but I can't wait for one last run. Top guys out. Now, with that, he shows the classic matches between American Alpha and themselves in the NXT. Yep. The classic matches against DIY.
Great matches.
Classic matches with the triple threat match with DIY and Authors of Pain.
Beautiful match.
Then he also shows the Young Bucks FTR 2.
Yep.
The
very good match too.
And both Briscoe matches. And then, of course, we have the last one with Aussie Open. And then at the bottom of the next one, they show just them and the Bucks and then another one with them battling CM Punk and Moxley.
Wow, so Swerve in Our Glory didn't make those pictures, huh?
Well, it's just interesting. For me, that's an interesting situation. He is reminiscing clearly about all of their career together, and those were his favorite picks. Those are the ones that he felt to spotlight.
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting. And it seems like, are those two unsaid stories? Is that why he added those two pictures? You can read a lot into that. But the bottom line is, I don't think it would even be a question right now. When Triple H takes over WWE, folks, it hit a reset button for dozens and dozens of talent. You've seen several of them already, including Bray Wyatt and Karrion Kross. FTR was booked perfectly. FTR became the best tag team in the world in Triple H's NXT. That is a fact, Jack. What they did in NXT was the genesis of them even being considered to have a rivalry with the Young Bucks, where Fuck the Revival started by Cody Rhodes, ironically, which is another reset button, even though it was prior to Vince McMahon leaving. Yep. But guess what? Dax and Cash are probably going to be the Revival once again, because we know Triple H loves tag team wrestling, and he knows how good those guys are. What in the blue hell is stopping them from going back to WWE come spring of 2024 when their contracts, or I'm sorry, 2023 when their contracts expire? Nothing. They've accomplished everything that there is to accomplish, except for that last match against the Young Bucks. And if they're checking out, they're jobbing to the Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks are the greatest tag team ever.
And that's exactly what's going to happen.
And to your point, because you can see FTR are going to win that second tag team championship. They are going to do that. I know that for a fact. But it's what could have been. And we're all going to know it because we're going to know that they're leaving. And everything that I've said to defend Tony Khan and how he has booked this, everything I've said, I'm looking the fool. I'm looking like an idiot. I no longer have this great faith in Booker of the Year. I don't know what is going on, but FTR has done everything despite Tony Khan and despite AEW putting them in a prime spot. They have completely squandered a team that had every piece of momentum possible. And to have them lose, even though it protected them with the low blow and Swerve's turning and all that, at the end of the day, you squandered everything that they just built by themselves with the help of other companies that trust them to keep their tag division right at the top level, that they are the tag team champions. They're the standard of that division. When they are the standard, then you have a hell of a tag team division. It's that simple. That's why they're champions everywhere else. That's why. So Tony Khan, I can't defend you anymore when it comes to FTR. I can't. I want to, but I can't. And FTR is going to run away and reclaim their name, and the characters that they built in NXT very much did a lot of that hard lifting themselves. And the Revival, which is a much better name anyway, the Revival will ride again. And you know what? Now that Triple H is there, it wouldn't be that bad.
I 100% agree with what you just said, honestly. And I can see it coming a mile away. Like, and that hit, like the way he wrote that, those guys like put, how can I put this? They let it bleed. It would be easy to play cards with those guys, especially Dax, and I find that endearing in some ways, you know. And I know what I'm dealing with that guy, really, you know, in terms of what's important to him. It's like he just puts it out there, and I admire a lot what he finds endearing, And I give him a lot of credit because this is a guy who wasn't born into the system. He had to work hard for it. And he was able to connect with his tag team partner here with Cash. And they've done a hell of a job. And it really has been squandered, as you said. And honestly, there's some egos behind the scenes that didn't necessarily want to play ball. And this greatness was avoided. And I'm really sick of it. So, but yeah, we're going to get a chance to see the Acclaimed against Swerve in Our Glory. And, and again, I'm one of the bigger marks for the Acclaimed. This is not a shot against them. It just, there's no way you would want at this moment in time, especially being rushed at, full gear, especially the Acclaimed versus FTR.
No, you can't. You can't.
Acclaimed
will probably have it till at least Winter is coming. Usually something significant happens when Winter is coming. Mm-hmm. But you can't have FTR beat the Acclaimed. You have to have a heel team do it. You're not going to have it be. Certainly not going to have it be Swerve in Our Glory because they are breaking up, which they've been foreshadowing for months. Yep. They foreshadowed it even before they won the championships.
Yep.
They've explained it very subtly if you have to pay attention to their backstage interviews because they never put them out, which is ridiculous. They all could cut decent promos. Put them out in front of the crowd. Have one of your 15-minute matches only 7 minutes. Have some more. I know people hate promos, though. That's against AEW love. But again, we have to know why these things are happening. And if you miss one backstage segment, there are usually 2 minutes. You might miss a big part of the storyline. That's why people aren't. A lot of these mid-card storylines are never catching fire, Tony.
Yep.
And it is what it is. I hope he has a plan. I think the plan does have FTR win the championships, and I think the Young Bucks beat them on their way out. Mark this down right now, October 30th. Mark it down, dude. That's how they're going to book it. Bucks beat them for the championship on their way out.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? You and I are going to watch that match, maybe together even. And it's going to be like really bittersweet. It's going to be like, okay, it's like.
I'm sure it'll be great.
We saw this coming. We know that, it was just typical as far as like what we called a year in advance, if you will.
Well, you did. I was defending. I thought that they still had plans to do it. Maybe they did. I mean, obviously, with everything that gone on with CM Punk and the brawl out, as it's been dubbed, you gotta. It doesn't matter. You had lightning in a bottle. You have to seize it. And Tony Khan has been. He always preached about, and we killed McMahon for a long time. Story writes itself, Vince. Just do the normal. Just do what the fans want to see. Tony Khan, same thing. Do what the fans want to see. You're not. Because backstage politics have got. We thought AEW was above it. It's not. No. This happens in every wrestling company that doesn't have Vince McMahon at the top, and now Triple H at the top. Other than WWE, this happened in some respect. WCW said in pre-production all the similarities between WCW late '90s to AEW now. They ran at the show. The Hogan, Nash, the NWO guys ran that show.
Yep.
The mid-carders could kind of do whatever the hell they wanted anyway. And the heavy players were booked predominantly by Eric Bischoff and Kevin Sullivan and Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash. They all had their hands in the cookie jar. And it's very hard to run a company like that without egos getting involved eventually, because every motherfucking wrestler who ever got into the building has a big ego, because you can't do what they do without having a big ego. So obviously it's going to get into play. I didn't think it would happen like that. I thought the Young Bucks were better if they are the culprit here. But the fact of the matter is they got rid of FTR. And now you can't hear jerk-offs like us say that they're the number one contender and they should get the title shot. That just all went away.
Yeah, they decided to take that away from us.
And they did.
Yep.
It protected them again, as we said before. It did protect them. But wow, it's coming to pass, and I can't defend Tony Khan anymore. And his booking overall has been abysmal in 2022. That's a reality. I lost 10 followers for saying that right there. So,
yeah.
I should start just start really talking about WWE, which is a great segue, Vladi Dadi, because we now shift over to one of the most organically beautiful things that we've seen in WWE in a long time, and that is the love of Sami Zayn as the honorary Oos. And that storyline continues to be the most entertaining damn thing in all of professional wrestling right now. Not that MJF is not doing great right now, but Sami Zayn and what he's doing with Jey Uso, the character between those two, the little subtle things that are adding to it, like Paul Heyman reaction. We have to talk about this past week's segments and the whole thing that of having Sami Zayn enter the bloodline, which has completely rejuvenated the bloodline and the Roman Reigns storyline, and is given this more legs. Enough legs he'll easily now be able to get to WrestleMania. We were worried about that a couple months ago. Yeah. Wow. Sami Zayn, your reaction. I know we're both big fans of Sami. Your reaction to the now famous, he just has been feeling very oozy late comment.
And again, we had this tension being built between Jey and Roman because Roman has kind of put Jey in his place time in and time out. And here you had a situation where Sami is just trying to play the peacemaker and trying to talk on behalf of Jey, which irritates Jey to the point where he basically says he doesn't give a damn what Roman Reigns thinks.
I don't give a damn what the Tribal Chief thinks.
Yeah, and then when they cued that, and then you just see Roman's head pick up, and the anger, like what did he just say?
And the camera shot, the production, yes. You saw the camera zoom in on like,
yeah, perfect. That was like Scorsese directed that right there, man.
Kevin Dunn still in. You know what? Kevin Dunn. When he stays in his lane.
Yeah. So that was just a beautiful reaction shot, and then you felt the tension in the stadium, the arena, and then you have Sami trying to play peacemaker, and he literally sticks his neck out for the entire bloodline because he just so badly wants to be one of them, which is just so goddamn funny to begin with. And for him to go and use the term that he just hasn't been feeling so oozy, just so simple and just almost childish, but funny. And as soon as that crowd took that word and started playing with it, and you see them starting to break character.
Yeah. That was like a Saturday Night Live skit, like Jimmy Fallon used to crack up at.
Yeah. Jey Uso was playing the part of Jimmy Fallon at that point.
Yeah.
So it was just And then you're watching Jimmy in the background, and Jimmy's laughing, and then I'm just watching off to the right of Paul Heyman, and him just smirking like, just like what he's involved in with that moment. And then Roman takes and that's one thing. It would have just sort of ended there, but Roman takes it and plays up and into it.
So you can find you in a oozy.
You're not feeling so oozy. and just when he said that, you hear the crowd laughing.
Oozy.
Yeah,
it was when you pop. This is supposed to be a really very tension, a big part where Roman is pissed because no one disrespects the tribal chief like that.
Right?
He didn't mean it. That's how he starts it. And the funny thing is, this has already been a brilliant storyline. He said this comment before. He said it in a backstage comment, I believe. He says, I don't think he's been that used to. It was about a month or two ago when he first started joining the bloodline. But this time he said it in front of the crowd. The crowd popped so beautifully, which goes back to our point about maybe the promos in front of crowds might be little ones that are a bit more memorable, right? Because the crowd are part of the show. So you have that. It already was great. Now you have this iconic moment now to add to this storyline, which I don't know if they had that iconic moment part. And they've had some great moments. When he gave him the shirt, the glee, like he was a kid on a Christmas morning. The glee Sami Zayn is shown by getting their acceptance. And we know it's going to happen. It's going to end with Sami Zayn getting the living shit kicked out of him by the bloodline. We know how it's going to end. But it's going to be so heartbreaking when Roman turns on him and he's the one.
Yep.
It's going to be heartbreaking.
It is.
I think you're going to see a Jey Uso, Sami Zayn match, possibly at Survivor Series, maybe a Royal Rumble. But Sami Zayn right now, and again, these beautifully organic ways when wrestling is done well, they've done it here. WWE has done it 100% with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, and you've rejuvenated Roman Reigns' run here. He was getting stale toward the end of Vince's run. We were like, it's Brock Lesnar match. Oh, God damn it. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It wound up being the best match they could possibly have with the huge spectacle and all that. Triple H's first major pay-per-view. And all of a sudden, we thought he was going to lose to Drew McIntyre because of it. And I said, I don't think he will, but will Triple H have the balls to keep this title on Roman Reigns and not force feed McIntyre just because it's in Great Britain? And damn it, he did. I applauded it. And now look what you have. You have brilliant, beautiful television still to come. Triple H, kudos, my brother. You're doing a great job. This Sami Zayn thing is taken off. And it's honestly my favorite thing in wrestling right now.
It's my favorite by far as well. I got to say it, man. It's just, I look forward to it. And I was even mentioning to you, I kind of felt like I totally forgot that the World Series was on normal Fox station. And I didn't realize that SmackDown was on FS1. So I'm like, oh my God. When I saw the DVR, I didn't pick up on it. I'm like hunting for it immediately because I saw like there was some like, feedback online, especially like there was some juice going on with this Juicy comment or the Zusi comment, right? So
Juicy Uzi.
Juicy Uzi. And basically, so basically I had to go and watch it. And it just, I rewatched it probably 2 or 3 times. And I'm just watching like the different guys and their reactions. And man, it was just great to feel it and see it and just laugh. And it gave me about a 5 to 10 minute break from reality where I was totally entertained and I was loving what I was watching.
And how about the fact Heyman cut a promo at the end of this whole thing? And no one's even, how often is Paul Heyman completely upstaged on the microphone or in a segment? It never happens. Never happens. And I don't even remember what he said. I guess he was promoting the Logan Paul match or whatever. So
yeah.
But you get a gist that he's enjoying the heck out of being part of this as well, and he's doing it without being the major stir of the drink. Sammy's been a bigger mouthpiece of the Bloodline because Heyman's usually only there when Roman is there.
Yeah. So
Sammy's been more of a spokesman of the Bloodline more so than Heyman lately, which it's been a beautiful thing. It really has been. And I'm actually absolutely excited about it. Kudos to WWE and continue that vibe. Sami Zayn. And then, of course, everyone's going off on the Uzi thing. And even though I will say this, did you catch the Phillies? They had people scissoring after so I don't know I don't know what's a bigger hit right now, being Uzi or scissoring, but the Phillies were scissoring after a run scored.
I didn't realize that they did that, and that's pretty cool, I got to say, because that's very reminiscent of back in the late 90s and 2000s where, like, the NWO for life hand signals and all that, and the crotch chops and all that. We're kind of getting back to that realm of wrestling, sliding into other places of popular culture.
Yeah, and I think we all love what WWE is doing. It's interesting. Hunter's trying to have his cake and eating it too. And we're switching back to what Hunter's doing. He basically is now making it cool to be in WWE again.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that cancels out most people of why they wanted to leave to begin with. And it's because of things like this, letting Sami Zayn be Sami Zayn. It's not a coincidence that he's having his best run since being in WWE. He's had some really good runs. He's having his best run minutes after Triple H takes over. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. So great job with that. What else do we have going on today, Vladi Dadi? What else do we have from the world of professional wrestling that we here on High Spots and Cheap Pops want to bring to the people right now?
You know what I want to talk about is actually what's going on with MJF with this, what it looks like to me to be a face turn. And you may disagree with me, but I actually think we are going to see one. And one of the reasons I think this is this. We mentioned the Firm and how he's basically, he got taken out by Morrissey during the last Dynamite after he came out there to sort of, basically protect Moxley in ways, right? And this is really a true credit to MJF because I've never seen somebody go back and forth from being a face to a heel in one promo so beautifully than him. When he's out there with Renee Paquette, like
Don't
he's
hurt
like
yourself.
he's passive aggressive. He's complimentary, and you know what? The crowd is bouncing back and forth with him. He's a maestro out there, man. He is a prodigy.
I like him making fun of Moxley. That was funny.
Yeah, I like him like walking around with a shoulder and then basically talking about he's going to grind his bones and drink my blood, blah blah blah. and he was totally right. These are things that have irritated me over and over, and he made fun of him. You know.
Well, if you saw the pay-per-view, I just wanted to make this other comment too. If you saw the pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view when he came out as the Joker, before you knew who it was, he moved like Moxley does. He literally got into the ring and he did a little spin around like Moxley does into one of these, almost like. But it made no sense because Moxley was fighting for the world championship that night, so you knew it wasn't Moxley. But he was actually If you go back and see the Devil, who we didn't know who it was at the time, the Joker. Yeah. If you go back and look at the way he did it, he actually he acted just like Moxley. Moxley's not hard to do. We saw Matt Cardona do it in GCW as well, Nick Gage. So but anyway, I just wanted to bring that up.
So one of the reasons I think he's going to go and turn face is because you have the firm, and you definitely have in recent weeks the kindling of the Pinnacle. And one of the reasons I say this is the show that was in Toronto was this, right? Yeah, at one point in time, you had Wardlow in the ring, and Samoa Joe was there as well. But you had Wardlow, you had FTR, and then all of a sudden, Shawn Spears is out there as well. And he's buddying up with Wardlow after they basically crapped on each other, or I should say Shawn Spears crapped on him for how long leading into that. So all of a sudden, that was all gone and forgotten. Right.
If you notice though, when Shawn Spears came back, there was a little bit of a weird, like everything's cool, kind of like hug and handshake. It wasn't like they just didn't. So there could have been something behind the scenes that they squashed, what have you. Those little subtle little things when wrestlers do it, I kind of give them a pass. They told a little bit of it was subtle. But if you saw the interaction between Wardlow and Shawn Spears, it wasn't like, okay, with tug, it was like almost like an apologetic handshake first. So that might have been a little part of the story that I think was okay with
it. But the fact that Wardlow didn't lay him out, is why I'm saying you have the basis of a faction that's being led by Stokely Hathaway, which I'm not really all that impressed with, honestly, when you go and compare them to the Pinnacle, especially. But if they're going to go and outnumber MJF, and MJF decides to go and win this championship by not cheating, which will be the big thing, and if he's getting beaten down, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets saved, if you will, by the Pinnacle. That's my 2 cents.
It could happen. I don't know if it will, but it could. I don't know if MJF wins the title in Full Gear.
I think he wins.
I don't know if he does. I don't know if he does because I don't know if it's time for him. I think it's got to be a little bit of a struggle unless he really doesn't have a contract past 2004. If this is all a shoot, this is not a work, any of this about his contract and everything. First of all, Tony Khan's a fucking bloody idiot. No way around it. Keep the kid off of TV. I know it sucks, but keep him off TV.
But if you have this conglomerate behind you wanting him on TV, you got to get him out there, especially if you want to do a contract.
And he's
honestly,
that's not showing strength in a company. Think Vince McMahon would let USA tell him that? Think Triple H would let them tell,
Where's Tony going to go?
Yeah, that's the thing. But those are the kind of decisions you need to make. And I don't think Tony Khan is making tough decisions right now. He's not making the right ones. He's not making them in a swiftful way either. So, which is part of his. I mean, look, you're seeing all the rust. You're seeing all of Tony Khan's warts popping all over the place in year 4. That's the truth. This has been a rough year for Tony.
It's been his worst year. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, especially when the optimism going into 2022. With the roster that they had, the momentum everyone had, you still had Cody Rhodes. I mean, where AEW was in 2022, January 2022, where it is now.
Yeah.
Weird. It's really weird. We're optimistic in how happy we were and where we are at this moment. We were right in the middle of the MJF feud with Punk. It's interesting. We would be a little bit remiss if we didn't talk about Bray Wyatt as well. Speaking of great things that are happening in WWE, these promos, have you been watching them all? I know we saw the first one, which with the demon kind of mask that interrupted him. You don't know who you're dealing with, do you? And now Uncle Howdy.
Yeah, Uncle Howdy. I did not see that promo yet.
Well, basically, what it is for the last 2 weeks, Bray Wyatt has come out and spoken like Bray Wyatt, like he's himself. This is me. This is really me. And you people make me believe in myself. And I know that I can make maybe you believe in yourself. Like, you know, he's speaking from the heart and it's impassioned. And he gets all, but it's been a couple weeks in a row. And every week, right in the middle of him saying something, he gets interrupted by one of his characters. This week it was Uncle Howdy, and he was just basically saying, revel in what you are. And he said, you don't think you wear masks? You can run, but you're part of it. And he brings up how these demons make him do horrible things and all that. He's trying to basically, this mortal version of Bray Wyatt is trying to explain to the people why he does the things that he does in these crazy spookity doopity ways. He even brought up the smoke and mirrors that he was used to. So I kind of dig it, but I like to see this evolve a little quicker than we're seeing, unless these are just the weird introductions of these characters. The characters aren't saying anything sustainable. But what is your opinion? What do you think so far? Even though you didn't see the Uncle Howdy, what do you think so far about Bray Wyatt's presentation in WWE?
I thought that first promo where he spoke just honestly to the crowd was great. I liked seeing that side of him. Then the only thing is, like, when they cut to this character in the mask, it's like, okay, it's like, I thought it was, I think it took a little bit away from what he was just saying.
Yes.
But I get what they're doing. I get what they're doing. It's not saying I disliked it, but it just, I would almost rather just give them that one moment and then maybe the following week try to like introduce these other characters. But you know what? Like, I'm not really here to second guess Bray Wyatt. I've always been pretty impressed with his creativity. And here's what I'm really looking forward to seeing right now with this version of him. Previous, where I was really impressed with a lot of his creativity, I would often, especially like him being burned and then being resurrected, I have an idea where I think Vince got involved and maybe ruined some things. Now we don't have that excuse, right? So I'm really curious to see where we go. That's just Bray and company, Rob Fee, this guy that's writing with him, and see where they take us on this journey. I mean, I know there's already a push. I'm seeing like people are like, oh, Bray needs to go after the bloodline. Nah, I don't want to see that. Do not start putting 8 pounds of something in a 5 pound bag, because it's just nothing good is going to come from that.
Yeah, there was a report. Yeah, just to your point, there was a report. Triple H, someone said that I forget who it was. I think it was Meltzer. Said something to the effect that, it was Meltzer or Fightful Select, or it might have been WrestleNews.com or it might have been RingsideNews.com. It was somebody, one of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And a source close to the subject said Triple H said that's not part of the plan, because where would you go from there with either character? One character dies where they are if they go at it right now. That would be stupid. That would be like putting, the Undertaker. If you remember the Yokozuna, I know the Undertaker early beat Hogan. I'm not talking about that. After he really gained steam and became the Phenom and was this unbeatable babyface, they kept him away from Yokozuna a little bit longer, even back then for us. I remember as a kid thinking, why isn't the Undertaker going after Yokozuna? Well, because Yokozuna had to build his championship run up first.
Yep. And
the Undertaker had to build who he was up first. But when he did, it was a big deal. And then if you remember, Yokozuna had a bunch of help and they wound up winning a casket match. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, the same thing here. Roman Reigns has a nice table set where he can help carry your company for a while. Let Bray Wyatt build what he does. The only thing I'll say is that this presentation, I didn't like initially the way I liked his first two. Like, I loved the Max Mercy kind of whatever vibe, swamp leader, cult leader that he was. I love that. Love the promos. Amazing. And then everything he created with The Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse, that was other level creativity. So you wonder what this is. So far, I'm not sure where we're going with it. I guess he's going to be controlled by these different characters, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's like, you hear rumors and you're even seeing like the Uncle Howdy thing. Somebody's focused in on Uncle Howdy has like a cross earring, and it just so happens to be the same sort of earring that Bo Dallas himself would wear. So maybe it's Bo Dallas in a mask. And again, I'm just putting it out there because I saw the picture. I'm like, yeah, that is the same. But again, George Michael also wore a similar earring as well, but I'm doubting it's him.
He's dead.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But you know what? Bray Wyatt was resurrected as well. I should say The Fiend was.
We'll see. I think the first promo I loved, and I loved how he put a bow in to thank you. But now it's been a couple promos in a row now where kind of the same thing. It says, this is just me. This is me. And then the creepiness from beyond. So let's get along. Let's move along here.
Yeah.
What else do we have on the plate this week, Vladi Dadi?
I think you wanted to bring up CM Punk to WWE.
We could go there. So, ladies and gentlemen, we heard reports this past week, and ad nauseum, Meltzer said that there's a holdup with buying out CM Punk's contract. This is paraphrasing. They're holding up with CM Punk's contract, and the word is that there's a buyout clause that has to be clarified, or there's a sticking point with a buyout clause, or for a non-compete clause with the non-compete clause within the buyout. And Meltzer made one little reference, and that's all it took for the wrestling internet to go crazy, that the only company that would make sense for that to be an issue would be WWE. And so everybody took off with it. CM Punk's coming back to WWE. Oh my God, CM Punk coming back to WWE. I will first admit to this. It is possible he goes back for a quick little run. 3 months, 6 months, something like that. But there is no way, and I don't even know if that'll happen. There is no way, for everything that has been said between CM Punk and Triple H, the way CM Punk has dogged WWE for a decade, literally a decade now, everything he said about that company, everything he said about Triple H, the chances of him to go back there and not look like a complete sellout piece of shit, which everyone thinks he's a piece of shit now anyway, most anyone, everyone. To me, it's mind-boggling how people ran with this. Literally, Wrestle Talk, who I have a lot of respect for. It's really a possibility. And you picture it, Triple H learning from Vince McMahon, bury all hatchet. You got to bury all hatchets, and you have to make it work what's best for business. Guys, first of all, CM Punk's stock has dropped like a lead pipe since this whole thing happened. Fans aren't chanting his name anywhere. Just not happening. Yeah, it'll be big when he comes back to WWE, but in WWE terms, big, they're having The Rock come back this year. They have pop stars showing up all the time and do these 3-month little programs, and they get over. WWE does not need CM Punk anymore. Am I saying no way, never? No, but I'm saying it's probably very unlikely because CM Punk, everything he said, he'd definitely have to apologize to Triple H. Everything he said about it. That has to happen. I don't think Punk has it in him. Secondly, Triple H basically has to be like, okay, I'll do it because it's best for business, but I need some apologies. You walked out of the company and you said that I needed to wrestle you. You didn't need to wrestle me. Look right in my face. You said you didn't want to wrestle me at WrestleMania. I wasn't good enough. You called me a doofus on national television and became a star because of it.
Great line. Doofus son-in-law.
You're going to call me a doofus now? Call me a doofus now. I mean, this is a guy, Triple H. Now that CM Punk, the public got CM Punk, and there's not crowds chanting his name throughout WWE arenas. Now that that's not happening, Punk's value isn't what it used to be, folks. And Triple H can let him live on his island of anonymity and never be the guy he thought he was. Everything Triple H has said, too, about him. He's a guy that always thought he was better than he really was. Triple H believes that in his gut. I believe that in my gut. CM Punk's going to want to do business with him unless it's an quote-unquote obscene amount of money. Public, why would Triple H throw that kind of money at him just to give him that platform? The fans, the indie darling fans, got him. And now they don't even want anything to do with him. So wrestling fans, use your head when you talk about WWE bringing back CM Punk. Because it's very unlikely, a lot less likely than a lot of people are speculating.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is this. I agree with you. The way I could see him returning is if they sort of phase out Roman. Maybe Roman starts doing some more movies, isn't going to be around as much. And they need somebody else to sort of come in and give them a little bit of a spark. And the reason where I think it could work is you still have one very important person for that relationship still on the payroll. Paul Heyman.
That's true.
If anybody who can mediate that relationship, it's Heyman. If Heyman wasn't there, I'd be like, yeah, you're 100% right. But that's the only one that's where it's like, hey, you know what? Brock Lesnar's not going to be there. Roman won't be there as much. You know what? Heyman needs a Paul Heyman guy. Well, the return of CM Punk and under Heyman's wing with Punk, and especially after what happened there, all possible. And then the other lingering thing is, you look down after he I mean, with the torn tricep or whatever, that takes almost like 9 months to a year to kind of heal, right?
8 months is what I heard.
Okay, so 8 months, right? So we're almost talking another year. Well, how ironic would it be if CM Punk shows up at WWE and then also MJF ends up showing up there as well? And they had, you will say what you will, they had the best feud of the year, and now you can do it on a WWE level as well.
Would Triple H want to do something that's already been done? I don't think they would do that. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, you're talking about a company that they're dealing with billions of people all over the world. Triple H has the belief that CM Punk doesn't draw. And by the way, Roman Reigns said that as well, that CM Punk doesn't draw the way he thinks he does. The powers that be, being Triple H, doesn't think he draws the way CM Punk thinks he does. And CM Punk never did bigger numbers in WWE in his life. So why would you need to bring him in? Unless you except for a little storyline. And Punk's going to want to go over. He's not going to like the booking. He's not going to want to do it. Unless they give him, again, an obscene amount of money, which they, of course, they do have at this point because Nick Khan's a genius.
Let's see. You say it was CM Punk a draw. Well, his 5 appearances often decreased quarter hours. 5 pay-per-views he was on are 5 highest selling for AEW. He main evented 2 $1 million gains. Arguably drew a third that he wasn't on.
Well, time out. I didn't say he wasn't a draw.
And honestly, 4 out of the top 10 selling items for the year on Shop AEW and Pro Wrestling Tees are his.
What I meant by not I'm telling you that he's not as much of a draw as he thinks he is. And that's what Triple H has said. That's what Roman Reigns has said. I'm just echoing their sentiments. I don't know if anymore. I don't think CM Punk is the draw he was a year ago. I don't. And he thinks he's a bigger draw, and I do think his ego makes him think he's a bigger draw than he is. That's all. There's no dogmatic idea of CM Punk here. Right. Do you think his value is what it was a year ago or even a year and a half ago?
Oh, no, because he was forbidden fruit about a year ago before.
That's exactly.
But although he did return, and especially with the Meltzer thing, I was curious about it today. I was like, well, you know what? If they're coming to an agreement where he's leaving, and like basically his contract's been bought out. I went to Shop AEW today. They still have all his merchandise on there, like full price. Which I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I thought it would already be in like on a reduced rack sort of thing. Like, And they're still selling it.
I don't know if he's really done. We got to see what's going on. I still don't know if he's done. I don't know if I believe that.
Well, all right, here's the question. Here's the $1 million question, because I don't even know what the answer is. Do we see him back on AEW TV in the next year and a half?
I actually think we will.
Wow.
I think we might. I don't think we will.
Oh.
I think it's but it's bigger possibility than people think it is, because I think eventually CM Punk, I don't know, because CM Punk just seems like, again, weak spirit, man. Fragile ego. I don't think because of the hate he's gotten and it's universally known that nobody wants him there, I don't think he'd want to come back. That's the big part of it. I think if there were people within that company that wanted him to come back, maybe he would. But FTR, the only people that like him, FTR might not even be there in 8 months.
Yeah, I don't buy that whole narrative myself.
What narrative?
That the Chris Jerichos and the Kenny Omegas and the Young Bucks don't want. They're the ones that don't want him around, and they're friends basically. Ask Hobbs what he thinks of him. Ask Dustin Rhodes what he thinks of him. I can give you a quote.
Why don't I ask Booker T what he thinks of him?
I mean,
there's a two-way street on CM Punk here. I mean, come on now.
So, but I mean, it's a two-way street. But how often is the other way of the street being portrayed? Right.
I saw with my own two eyes CM Punk be a complete douchebag and do more damage to a company than anyone else could. That's what I saw with my own eyes. And we've been down this road. Mm-hmm. Is it unanimous that CM is it like that? Look, Meltzer's full of shit.
Well, you're echoing Meltzer, and that's where I'm like, he's full of shit. And I refuse to echo the public relations department of the Elite, which is what he is.
Well, they do have a Meltzer drive, but with that being said, I saw what CM Punk did. I can't imagine he's a popular guy in the locker room. I can't imagine for 1 second that he's popular in the locker room after what I saw him do. So to think he's a popular guy in the locker room, if that's or if he's even 50-50, who thinks what he did was good, and who thinks that he would be a good idea to bring back in the company now in that locker room? I'm just wondering. You think that he's super, like, you think people are clamoring to get him back in that locker room? Is that what you're arguing here? Or I don't know what
I would say, yeah, there's people in that locker room that wouldn't mind him coming back because it's going to draw eyes on the product, and actually it'll make the company money. I mean, that's the name of the game. Or we could just like go and watch Daniel Garcia turn on Bryan Danielson again. Or we can watch another Wheeler Yuta segment.
Or we can watch another botch and he can't get up to the top rope without tripping, or try a buck shit lariat. And,
I mean, we could talk, weak ego and weak body. I mean, we bring up Hangman Page too, right?
What about Hangman Page?
Couldn't even finish a match.
Wow.
I mean, we're going to be serious about it, right? Like, we're going to.
Wow.
I mean, weak ego is right
there.
The
blood is not even, and the blood is not even dry on Hangman's concussion.
No, I mean, he couldn't finish a match, man. He couldn't take that bump. Landed on his face. Am I lying? Was that Moxley's fault?
I think he took the bump wrong. It looks like he did that. He tried to do that little flip thing.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to take advice from older people or other wrestlers too. So maybe if he did, he would have been able to finish the match like a champion. But yeah,
you went there, Vladi Dadi. Wow.
Yeah, I did. I've been waiting to tell you that.
Wow.
He's full of shit and gross too.
Hangman Page, poor Hangman Page. Guy has a concussion, and you're killing Hangman Page.
Weak ego, weak body.
Fragile ego.
Yeah. Fragile ego,
mind.
Fragile body. Fragile mind, exactly.
And weak mind, weak spirit.
Goes along with the butterfly jeans, bro.
Either way, CM Punk has been a complete douchebag and alienated himself. So I saw that with my own 2 eyes. And so my guesses after he did that and caused all this was really the genesis of it. And also the whole thing with calling Hangman Page out, all the stuff he did, whether you think it's justified or not, whether you think his feelings were justified or not, what he did, we talked about it ad nauseam already. It sounds like, and it seems like most people in the wrestling community and most people that you hear about in AEW think CM Punk's the bad guy in the situation. That's the bottom line. And I think we've seen enough of it already. If you disagree, you're on the wrong side of history in a couple of years. I think we're going to notice, but
I can't wait for this Dark Side of the Ring episode to come out. Can't wait.
We'll say. I don't think there's a world where CM Punk's a good guy in this situation. I'm sorry. How can you say
Kenny Omega saved the dog's life? But what's interesting is the bite mark is as if he had a rear naked chokehold on Ace Steel. That's sort of strange. But yeah, he was there to save the dog.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a podcast. It won't be on Colt Cabana's podcast, but I'm sure there'll be a podcast where CM Punk speaks his mind.
That guy shares an account with his mother.
I know, but CM Punk's still on his podcast because he gave him a bunch of money. Probably some of his mother. That's probably how we do. He's like, why is your mother's name on this check, Colt Cabana? I just gave you a gold mine. Why is your mother? Oh, don't worry. I shared it with her. What kind of man shares a bank account with his mother? You are a piece of shit.
Tony Khan nervously sips from water as that statement's being said.
There's some shit going on in the back. And the best was after the Jericho portion of that scrum on the same night. He's like, hey, there's some shit going down in the back. You hear him say it on camera. Wow. Oh, man. What a douchebag CM Punk is. Wow. All right. Vladi Dadi, what else do we have going on in the world of professional wrestling this week? Anything of note that you want to talk about? Ronda Rousey looks like her and Shayna Baszler are going to be getting together.
Yeah, they seem to be aligning. I didn't really get a chance to watch it because my DVR didn't pick up the SmackDown deal, so I got to wait for it to be on demand.
It takes 2 days in WWE land, which is for some reason.
Yeah, you know what it is, man. They want to go through that and edit any crap that they don't want us to see. They want to remember it's primo content. Then other than that, let me think. What else? Anything irritating? I'm sure there was things that irritated me on Dynamite for sure.
I know there
are. The Danielson thing, I hate the way he's being booked. I hate the Daniel Garcia thing. Jericho. And then, you know what really irritates me is Jack Swagger's hat.
What else is he going to do, though?
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to wear a bucket hat.
You get really pissed off about mid-carders in AEW more than anything. Unfortunately, though, Bryan Danielson's a mid-carder for some fucking stupid reason. My bad.
It's sad that that's become the case, man.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, what do you think? Look into your crystal balls there, Silicon Steve Valley. What do you think's going to happen in the Blackpool Combat Club? What's your prediction?
All their wives are going to make more money than him?
Oh.
Just kidding. None of their wives should make more money than any of them. I don't know what's gonna come of it. I think maybe Danielson goes on. Is there a possibility? I think that you have the best opportunity that you could ever have, but now that they involve the firm, this is what I thought you should have done to begin with. You have a perfect opportunity for a double turn. You could have Danielson out of the Blackpool Comic Club, Moxley turn heel, MJF turn babyface, same match. You could have one of the most classic double turns you can have since Bret and Stone Cold. No one's done a good one in years. It's been a year since someone did a good one. That might be the last time it really happened that well.
That was the best one.
So you have an opportunity with MJF and Stone Cold passing the torch almost, where Moxley wins by cheating. And where MJF refuses to cheat, Moxley does cheat and beats MJF. And that's where you have a double turn. You could have then MJF somehow work his way to a rematch down the road. and maybe at another following pay-per-view event or wherever the case may be, but he does it and finally gets that opportunity to beat Jon Moxley, third time's a charm, to beat him. Hey, Kenny Omega needed 3 times. Third time the charm to beat him for that championship where he really earns it, where he even maybe sustains a Moxley cheat and he beats Moxley anyway because he is that damn, that's how good he is and that's how over he is. That's how I would have booked this thing. Now that you involve the firm, you can't do that. So I don't know what happens to Blackpool Combat Club. That makes the most sense because everybody in that faction can be a heel other than Danielson. And Danielson could be a heel. They tried it, but he was cheered anyway.
And he still came out of the heel like tunnel, like he wants to be a heel.
He's one of those guys. Same thing with MJF now. It's like they're too cheered by the crowd to be heels. And Danielson should be the most success he's had. And then we had that really good run when he was the eco-friendly champion. But overall, Danielson's his home is. I know he hates it. But his home is as an underdog babyface. And he could be an underdog babyface and still be the badass destroyer that he's been in AEW. In many ways, this is the best version of Bryan Danielson we've ever seen. But we're not seeing his character. We're not seeing anything about him other than what he's trying to bring up with the young guys. Danielson needs to be at the top of your card having classic match after classic match. He needs to be your next world champion. But now it looks like it's going to be MJF. But Danielson, you're just wasting another talent. A guy who should be up here, you're keeping him at the mid card, feuding with Daniel Garcia. And God bless Daniel Garcia. He's a good young talent. But Jesus Christ, you've got Miro sitting on the bench. For Christ's sake, you have Brian Cage sitting on the bench. You know, maybe he's a bad example, but you have so much other talent. Malachi Black's coming back. There's so many people on your bench that Danielson can feud with. And you give him a rookie that no one even knows couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Right.
So that's where the problem lies. And I hope this, and I've been way too patient for too long. So there you go. I'm with you on Danielson is the point.
So you think they're going to fracture in some way?
I think Danielson does. I think something happens with Danielson. Again, it makes so much more sense to them as a heel. Wouldn't Regal be a better heel?
And I thought that the beauty of the Blackpool Combat Club was going to be that they could all be themselves. Like Danielson could be a heel, Moxley could be a face. They could just kick gas together when necessary.
Yeah, and that's what they were doing originally with the JAS. Yeah,
yeah, and it's not necessarily they're not necessarily doing that right now. And it's like, and for the life of me, the firm. Who's your star there? Is it Ethan Page?
Ethan Page right now is the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'm not against him. I think there's the crowd reacts to him. He's got a presence. He can speak well. Like
big, good size.
He's a big dude, and I give him credit too in that. Like I like how Razor Ramon was a big influence on him. Like I do really dig that about him. So I'm hoping it works out for him. But just when I look at it on paper, like I'm not digging it overall right now. Even Stokely Hathaway has been annoying me. I understand MJF's buddy, but I'm not impressed.
I don't think they presented him in such a. I don't know what they're doing with MJF. This is kind of confusing. They're kind of throwing it in together, and it just seems like something changed drastically in terms of plans a month ago and now. It really does. They got a good heat, but they have a good foundation. You got your jerk off tag team in the ass heads, the ass men, the ass boys. Yeah. You have a good up and comer in Lee Moriarty. You have that good little foundation where the up and comer the tag team. You got a great heater with
Morrissey.
Yeah, I wanted to say Cassidy because that was his real name.
Big Cass,
Morrissey. By the way, not the Morrissey that made those nice soft rock songs back in the 70s. No, wrong Morrissey.
And this
if you're wondering, I know a lot of people are wondering about that. You see Bad Bunny everywhere, you think,
And this Morrissey resembles more Greg Allman than anything else.
Yeah. I had a really bad joke. So to your point, they got the ingredients. I just don't necessarily like where they're starting, even though they're starting at the top of the card. They're involved in the world championship title scene, so you're getting an opportunity to see that. But I think the ingredients are there if they can turn the Ass Boys into a real true contender of the tag team championship. I don't think they are. but it looks like they're feuding with they were there.
Yeah.
So the firm is, I'm going to give them some time before I pass judgment. I'm going to give them a little bit of time. Right now, I feel like it's too much, too little, or too much, too soon for them to be starting there. But we'll see how it plays out. I think they got a great star in Ethan Page. You got a good heater. You got your tag team, the young up-and-comer, and you got a good voice. So you got something you would see similar to like a Heenan family or a Hart family or even a Four Horsemen. So they have the ingredients for a great faction. What happens from there, we'll see. But yeah. I don't love it myself.
Yeah. Yeah, the verdict's still out, and I'm just sort of confused with the way this is being played with MJF, but we'll see. And you know what? You did make a mention with the Ass Boys being at the FTR match. That was another reason I knew that the FTR was totally going to lose, because I'm like, those guys are going to interfere, and there's the first feud with FTR defending the ROH tag team belts.
Which they did interfere. They kept Cash from getting involved in the match.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Booker of the Year.
And then Swerve, I don't know. I only saw a picture of Swerve looking over Billy Gunn like this, and Billy Gunn looked like he was in a lot of pain. I thought maybe he was doing a Pulp Fiction scene in the basement of the gun shop.
I don't think it was that extreme. However, I think he was breaking his fingers so he can no longer scissor anybody.
Did it possibly look like a scene you would see from American History X if he didn't have the Nazis getting his back?
I don't know.
It looked like a mixed race.
It could be very much whatever's in your head in terms of your imagination.
Well, let's look at this picture, folks. Have you seen the picture?
I saw the picture.
Doesn't it look like Billy Gunn's being penetrated?
Yeah, it looks like he's not having a good time. And what's strange is then we'll flip to a promo after you consider that picture that I'm sure you're going to show. And then it's like Keith Lee and Swerve are doing a promo together, and Swerve gets annoyed anytime Keith Lee uses the word indubitably. Keith Lee, by the way, his stardom has plummeted. As his waistline has expanded, his stardom has plummeted. I said that.
You don't like Keith Lee either, so I don't know. I don't know why I don't like Keith Lee. The guy still does incredible stuff in the ring.
He looks like, dude, he is.
Wasn't he always that? I didn't watch NXT. Wasn't he always that?
No, not that. He is. I can't even put a number on it, but like, I gotta say, man, like, and you look at the two differences, right? Who was Vince like worried about bringing to the main roster, right? Was Walter, aka Gunther, and Keith Lee. And you see the two approaches, man. And I'm not even saying Keith Lee needs to get to Gunther's level, but every time I'm seeing like month to month, Keith Lee is just getting larger and larger out there, man. It's going to get to the point where he's not going to be able to do half the stuff he'd like to do. You know, and I get the irony of me saying this of all things, but the thing is, like, he is a professional and he has it. The fans like him. I just don't want to see him wasting it, because I generally did enjoy his time in NXT. I think he's got a great talent, and I'm just hoping it doesn't go to waste.
Well, he's got to get out of that tag team to really. We'll see. Once he gets his singles run, we'll see where he's at, and I think you're going to see him have a singles run. If he's getting that much, I don't see a big difference from when he got to AEW originally and what he got to AEW now. So I haven't noticed a big difference since then. I'll take your word how much bigger he is of what he is and what he is now. He's always been a big fatty though. I mean, he's more Mark Henry than he was before.
You know what, man? We gotta, like, if we could on this podcast, we should probably get a picture of him from NXT and then compare it to like the match against FTR.
All right, let's do it right now, folks. Keith Lee NXT. We'll do that picture right there. He looks pretty slender in that picture. I will say that. When he won the Universal Championship.
Yeah.
Or the United States. What is that? The North American Championship? And then we do Keith Lee AEW images. See one. I mean,
yeah. When I'm looking at these pictures from him at NXT, it's like he was big and burly, and he could still go. Like he had great cardio in the ring. He was imposing. It was like a lineman from like the Cowboys or the Texans out there doing some crazy stuff. And now when I'm seeing him at AEW, it's like,
all right.
I'm hoping that he's going to be okay health wise, man.
Well, I'm going to send you these two pictures now via my phone, and now these are the pictures I'll show in the show. And well, I don't know why I'm using my radio voice because I'm not going to do it. I'm cutting this all out. I don't know if these are too good. There we go. Let's try this. What is going on here? There we go. This might even be a better double view because I zoomed in on the one a little bit better. Oh no. I sent it to some other person named Vlad and it said message failure because that person, I don't even know what that was. Oh, I spelled it out. I didn't put your name in. All right. Now, here you go. The one's AEW and the other one is, and it looks, I know this is a good shot because he has his arms up, but he does look significantly bigger. More roly-poly in the tits. Like if you zoom in on it, he's got like fat lumps like Dusty Rhodes used to have. Wow. That is not, ooh, that's some, ooh. If you can, folks.
Zoom in on it.
Wow. Look at that. That's a nice titty right there. That's some beautiful titty right there. And this is his shot, right? And that's him in NXT.
Yeah, he was like, he was formidable, man. You wouldn't mess with him.
I still wouldn't mess with him, by the way. I don't think you would either.
Definitely. No, by no means. Did you see the one that I sent you? My crack research department.
Black Peter Griffin, ladies and gentlemen. Great job. She just sent me a Fat Albert picture. I mean, he isn't that bad. I mean, the guy still jumps over the top rope like he's a fat person trying to jump over a top rope and doing it successfully.
Keith.
I look, he's entertaining. The crowd loves him. We got to see how he gets booked. So far, I don't think Swerve and our glory, despite the championship run, I don't think they've gotten over as a tag team.
No.
And so that's where the frustration is, because if they're not over, why are they pushing themselves? To protect and get fans like me and you, fans like you and I, you and me. There we go. Say it right. To stop bitching about FTR not getting a tag title championship match.
They must love that portion of our show.
They don't listen to us like Triple H does.
That's true. Triple H has been listening for years and years. So
all over my opinions. He takes what I said. I'm the only person on the internet that said Drew McIntyre shouldn't win. Only person on the whole goddamn internet, and he doesn't win. I told him to put Daniel Bryan in the main event at WrestleMania 30.
You did it.
Look at that. When you already had Batista out there all lined up and everyone just hated it.
Boo-tista or Blue-tista.
That was a great match. That was the Shield versus the Evolution. That was a fan. If no one's ever seen that match, go back and watch it. Shield really came in. They were already a big thing, but I think that next level and the next night, they were never going to be bigger than they were that night. And that's why that turn was so beautiful the very next night on Raw when Seth Rollins turned on them. But we'll see. So you still hate AEW. It's good to be. We didn't do a Vladi Dadi Dynamite review this week,
Hey,
but you still hate it, so that's good.
No, I wouldn't say I necessarily hate them. They are the one show that I do make sure that I watch from beginning to end every week.
Just to hate them.
So, no, not just to hate. I'm hoping for something to love.
So you did bring up something with JBL. You actually asked me, and this will be the last thing we say before we get out of here. JBL, the presentation with JBL and Baron Corbin.
Yeah, and you and I have never been high on Baron Corbin. It
hasn't changed.
No, and I'm not. He's not winning me over. But I did kind of like JBL as a manager. There's something about him out there
where he's making fun of the younger generation.
Yes,
that's the angle.
Yeah.
We've kind of seen it before, but he's good on the mic. I will say this: Johnny Gargano, who I've never been in love with. He immediately won me over when he made fun of Baron Corbin for being boring and having too many name changes. Thank you, Johnny Gargano. You said what it was on everybody's fucking mind. Oh, what, you're not a king this week? Or a baron? Or a constable? Or happy? What are you this week?
Lone Wolf? Need to be told. Yep.
Great. Good job, Gargano. He tries desperately to be Shawn Michaels. See him dance around and hop around like Shawn Michaels used to. Like, what are you doing?
Do you hate him?
I don't hate him. I just told you I'm a big fan of him now. Just told you.
But if he keeps on dancing like Shawn Michaels, that's going to end.
No, because I don't think he's going to hurt people's lives because he's being an asshole like Shawn Michaels did. Because Shawn Michaels did that on camera was not the reason I think he's a piece of shit. There's other reasons. Right. Which Dax Harwood yourself, your buddy Dax Harwood has even expressed. He didn't say true. I don't think he said piece of shit though.
They're gonna have to make amends in about a year and a half.
No, it's not even. It's 8 months. What is it? 2023 is next year.
23. I was thinking MJF. You're right. Less than a year.
Yeah, they signed a 3-year deal back in 2020. So
you put the revival with Cody, and we just need one more, and then.
Well, Arn is the one who owns it, so.
We'll call him something else.
They're not. Come on. Cody doesn't need to do that. We'll see. We don't even know if the world has changed since Cody got hurt. The world is completely different. We're going to see where we're at. Sami Zayn might be the biggest face in the company in 6 months.
It's crazy.
It really is. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been High Spots and Cheap Pops. Vladi Dadi, you got anything else before we sign off here?
That's it, man. It's a wrap.
Well, thank you so much for listening and watching. We love all of you. And we'll be back with a little more consistent content on the way. Hey, look, at this point in time, this is a work of passion for us. We enjoy it, but hey, life is getting crazy. And sometimes crazy's got to be taken care of. But we're back, and we're going to be focusing on great content for you guys as we keep on going. So please, if you liked it, hit a little subscribe here on YouTube. And, of course, always follow us on Spotify. You can always follow me at Silicon Valley on Twitter. We have a nice High Spots and Cheap Pops Facebook page where Vladi Dadi runs that beautifully. And, hey, check us out. And you can also check me out on the everydayfan.com and their wrestling page. I'm covering New Japan Pro Wrestling and the other parts of pro. So check it all out, folks. We enjoy this every single solitary week. We're going to come to you here on High Spots and Cheap Pops. For Vladi Dadi, this is Silicon Steve Alley, and here endeth the lesson.